So I want to share with you a little bit about the program we created there in the United States many, many years ago. Uh, wow, 15 years ago. I had the privilege of being hired by a big multinational corporation there in Las Vegas, where I lived for so many years. They were looking for a psychotherapist who spoke Spanish and also was specialized in addictions. And those are one of my specialties. So they hired me. They had built a clinic for their employees. Just in Las Vegas alone, they have 8 casinos. They own 8 casinos. So they have about 34,000 employees. And they found out through studies that it was much cheaper for them to invest in their employees' health than in their diseases. The medical care in the United States is not like England. You guys are so lucky. I've been there and I see it. You have the best medical care, I think, in the world, and it's free most of the time. In the United States, it's not the best care and it's very, very expensive. So they decided to open a clinic. It's like a preventive clinic where they'll be having many programs, and they built a huge gym. I don't know if you call it gym, where you go and exercise. Is it gym? You call it gym there?
Yeah, we call it gym, yeah.
Yeah, it's the gym.
So, and it was open 24 hours a day because the casinos are open 24 hours a day. So people could go, the employees could go there and work out, and all the programs were free for the employees. Including, we had one of the programs was a bariatric program. For the many obese employees that we had, they would get the bariatric surgery for free. But they had to go through a process. You know, there were many requirements that they had to fulfill before surgery. And so as we started working when the clinic opened, we realized soon after we opened, it was a unique program because until then, we started in 2004. Until then, the surgery, especially the bariatric surgery, there was no preparation. People go to the doctor and they would maybe see a dietitian once and a psychologist for clearing their mental status to go through surgery. And that was it. People had no preparation. They had no clue what would happen to them physically and emotionally after surgery. So our program was already ahead because we had me as a psychotherapist, we had a dietitian, we had an exercise physiologist, we had the surgeons, the nurses, and we would work with the patients as a whole. And they would come, they were required to come to the gym at least 4 or 5 times a week. I would see the patients 3 or 4 times before surgery, the dietitian the same, and then off they went to surgery. But within 6 months after surgery, we realized that some had stopped losing weight and others had started gaining weight. And so we were shocked because our program was the best. Nobody was doing what we were doing. And so we did some studies and talked with our patients. And what we learned quickly is 2 things. Knowing and doing are 2 separate things. Knowing and doing are 2 separate things. You can have all the knowledge you want, but it doesn't mean you're going to apply it or I'm going to apply it. And so they needed help throughout the process in applying the knowledge they had. And so we changed our program quickly and we started working with them for 6 months prior to surgery. And we created this program. It was called Mind Over Eating. And so we created the program because of the need of our patients. It was not to commercialize the program. So, and obviously the program progressed, evolved, and we started incrementing things and knowledge there to help them. But the second thing we learned with our patients that the problem with gaining weight is not in our stomach or in our mouth, but it is in our mind. Because if our mind doesn't change, nothing will work. Nothing will work. I mean, those of you that, I don't know how many are there, but those of you that have done different diets know what I'm talking about. Diets don't work for a long time. They work for a short period. And they don't work. It's very simple to understand why they don't work. Because usually when you go on a diet, you stop eating this or that, and you stop drinking this or that, and you start exercising many times. And obviously, you're gonna lose weight. But then you get to a point where either you're tired of the diet or you reached your goal. So then you stop with the diet and slowly start going back to what you were doing before, and the weight comes back. So that's pretty simple to understand. Exercise is amazing. It is a wonderful medicine for weight management and so many other things. Is a wonderful medicine for mental health. It's huge, but it doesn't work by itself also. The thing is, our mind needs to be changed. Not even the bariatric surgery will prevent people from gaining weight back. As a matter of fact, you can look at the studies worldwide. In general, people that have the bariatric surgery, no matter which type, eventually after 4 or 5 years, many of them will gain the weight back, all the weight back, and sometimes more. The studies show 50% of the people that have bariatric surgery will gain the weight back. That's very sad to me because I don't know anyone that will do the surgery to gain the weight back, because it's a surgery. You're risking your life. Now, I didn't used to think that the surgery was a good thing. But when a person weighs, and forgive me, I don't remember, I think you guys call it stone, but I don't remember how many pounds to a stone. But in the United States, we say pounds. So we had patients with 500 pounds, 600 pounds. For a person to lose 300 pounds, 200 pounds, 400 pounds, it's almost impossible on their own. They need help. They need the surgery. They're actually dying, literally. They are carrying so many diseases already, that they need something quick. So yes, there is a place for the surgery, and I do agree. That is the lesser of the two evils, the surgery. But the surgery is a tool. It is not the solution 100%. And so most people that come to the surgery, they think, oh, this is the magic pill. This is gonna resolve my life. But unfortunately, it isn't. And no matter how much our surgeons would tell our patients, listen, the surgery is a great tool, but it's 10% of the process. Here is 90%. If this doesn't change, please do not have the surgery, because you're risking your life, and especially if you gain the weight back. So make sure you're working this. But like I said, most people are not ready to have the surgery. So anyways, I want to share a story of one of our patients that really impressed me. And her name is Jennifer. She was young, was 28 years old when she came to us, and she wanted to have the surgery yesterday. She wanted to have the surgery long before she came to us, because she had tried everything you could possibly think to lose weight. And she had lost weight and gained the weight back many times. Diets and and injections and exercises and all kinds of things. But she was a compulsive eater, and it just didn't work. So surgery for her was a last resort. For most people, it is a last resort. And so, but she wasn't ready, and most of our patients, they didn't want to work with us for 6 months. They want to have the surgery yesterday. Sorry. So Jennifer didn't want to have didn't want to go through the program, but it was mandatory. So she went through the program, and she chose the most radical of the bariatric surgeries because she knew herself well. The gastric bypass. I don't know if you ever heard about that one. There's different types, but the gastric bypass, for the people that have that surgery, I'm not going to go into details, but for the people who have that surgery, they cannot have sugar, sweet things, or fat, fried things, because they'll have a serious reaction to it, and it's called dumping. And so you vomit, you can pass out, you break out in sweats, you feel like you're going to die. And so even though it's a negative reaction, it is positive also, because you're going to avoid those things that were the main cause of the weight gain, you know. And so she chose that one because of the dumping. And even though we kept saying, Jennifer, it's your mind, you need to change your mind. And so anyway, she had the surgery, and because she was a compulsive eater, within a week, she wanted to test the waters, you know, and she ate sweets, ate some sugary things, didn't feel anything. She ate some fried things, did not feel anything. She ate the amount she wanted and didn't feel anything. So I say that Jennifer's digestive system had shut down. It wasn't functioning. It wasn't giving the alarm that usually gives the alarm when you're satisfied. I mean, imagine, usually the stomach of an obese person is the size of a flattened football. After a gastric bypass is the size of a small egg. So there's nothing, I mean, not going to fit much in there. So Jennifer was very angry. She thought the doctors had not performed the surgery. She thought they lied to her. So they showed her pictures. They had videos of the surgery. And once she realized that now she could not rely on the surgery to do the job, she had to work this one out. She got into a severe depression. We didn't see her for 6 months. Then she came back to us asking for help. Hadn't lost much. And we worked with Jennifer for 1 whole year every week. Jennifer quit her job. She became a personal trainer, and that's her profession until today. And I'm happy to tell you that Jennifer is not part of the world statistics about bariatric patients. She did not gain her weight back. It took her 3 years for her to eliminate 165 pounds. Now imagine carrying 165 pounds around wherever you go. I don't think I ever carry 165 pounds. I know what 50 pounds, 70 pounds is because I travel a lot, so I carry my bags, but 165 pounds. Can you imagine the effect on your legs, on your feet, on your back? Well, so Jennifer, wherever she goes, her testimony is, the surgery did not work for me because I was expecting for the surgery to do the job that my mind had to do. And so now you might be thinking, well, I'm not obese. I'm thin, or I'm normal weight. Whatever I speak here today is for all of us. And I learned that while working there. Has anybody that is listening heard about the TOFI phenomenon? Anyone? Not anyone, not anybody, huh? Well, in 2015, you know, before I explain that, does any of you think that the media or the food industry is concerned with your health? Anybody think that?
Not really.
Yeah, not really. When was the last time you saw a commercial on TV about eating more broccolis or eating more, what else? Beets or carrots or whatever. Yeah. You know, I was impressed with England with many things about the food. I mean, you guys are ahead, way ahead, most countries. Uh, if you read the ingredients of the things you buy, they usually have a percentage, you know, so you can choose, because sometimes you buy it out of ignorance, but there you can see the percentage of sugar, the percent of fat, and so it's really good. But even so, the food industry is there to make money. They're not there to make us healthy. I believe that, and I've seen that all these years working in this field. So uh, even though that's a huge industry, there's still many concerned with the world health. And so in the United States, there are a lot of doctors and scientists that every year they put together documentaries, movies about health to educate the population. In 2015, there was a documentary called Fed Up. I don't know if you guys watched, but if you didn't, please watch. If you watch one about health, you're gonna see so many, because they'll say, if you watch this, watch that also. I hope you guys have watched, well, what's the name? I just, is the one about the guy that it just, I went blank. The guy that went to McDonald's and ate 30 days of just McDonald's food. Super Size Me. Super Size Me is an old documentary. It's more than 15 years old. Please watch it. It's enlightening. There is another one called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. Amazing. Start watching. Start educating yourself. This is something that I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you over a few things. One of them is for you to become responsible for your health. Don't make your mom, your dad, I don't know if we have young people here, adolescents, or your husband, or your wife, or your partner, or your doctor, your nutritionist, your psychologist. Don't make them responsible for your health, because who's going to get sick is you, not them. Read, educate yourself. There is no excuse today. We have the world in the palm of our hands. You know that you can go to Google Academics, and there you will have access to the best universities in the world, to the most recent studies about health. There's all kinds of recipes for so many things. So we just need to take the time, because you know what? If we don't take care of our health today, I'm going to repeat that several times. If you don't take care of your health today, you're gonna take care of your diseases tomorrow. And I'm leaving that. So I'm a living proof of that. But coming back to the TOFI phenomenon, in the movie Fed Up, in the documentary 2015, that's the first time that I heard this. TOFI stands for thin outside, fat inside. It's the initials of those words. In the United States, 35% of the population is obese. 45% is TOFI. It's amazing. Here in Brazil, where I am for a few months, they eat a lot of sugar. I was so addicted to sugar, chocolate, so many things. And so, as you know, probably, sugar turns into fat. So it's not much different. We're walking in the same journey as the United States. In the United States, they eat a lot of fat. Here, they eat a lot of sugar. I would tell you that probably 70% of the people here are tofi. They don't even know. So if you look in this picture, the screen, there's two different men, but they have the same height, the same age, and the same weight. But if you look inside of their body, you can see the difference. The white parts is in the lighter parts is very different from one to the other. The one that is tofi on my screen is the one on the left. He has fat even on his feet, if you can see, in the lungs, in the liver. So, do you know if you're a tofi? I didn't know. I was probably a tofi for at least 30 or 40 years of my life, and I had no clue, never heard such a thing. But when I started working in the clinic in Las Vegas, 2004, they had a special scale that today they have it everywhere, the scale that gives your body composition. So it tells you your weight, it tells you how much water you have inside of your body, how much muscle, how much fat. They had paid a lot of money for that scale. It was like a new thing. And it was for our obese patients. So I decided to weigh myself and show my colleagues how healthy I was. The surprised one was me, because until the day I weighed myself in that scale, I thought that being skinny meant being healthy, because I've been skinny all my life. I can eat an elephant and it doesn't make a difference on my weight. So I went on the scale, and I never got sick either. So I thought I was the healthiest person in the world. I got on the scale, the printout came out, and my colleague, a medical doctor, she started translating for me the numbers because I didn't know what I meant. So the water, the muscle. When it got to the fat, she was shocked. She said, Rachel, I can't believe this. You are almost obese inside. But I thought she was joking with me, because what? How could I be obese inside? Look at my size. I'm small. What are you talking about? I've always been skinny. And so she said, I'm not kidding. Look at the numbers. She said, do you know that you could have the same diseases as our obese patients with this amount of fat inside? Do you know that visceral fat is the deadly fat? And I still didn't believe. I said, stop joking, please. Look at my body and tell me, where do I have fat? Well, she started telling me. She said, you have fat around your cells. So pretty soon you're going to become diabetic because the insulin cannot penetrate the cells. You have fat around your organs, so it's constricting them. They can't work properly. You have fat in your liver, and you have fat in your veins. Is that enough for you? Well, that shocked me. That really shocked me, because I never heard such a thing. And back then they didn't have this acronym TOFI. So I start changing. But unfortunately, like I said, diseases don't start today. You know, it was almost 10 years later, after I had started changing my eating habits and exercising more, it was when I was diagnosed with this autoimmune diseases. So I usually ask this question when I do lectures in schools and universities and hospitals and clinics, and even in churches. They invite me to do lectures about this. And so I ask, put your hands up. Who knows for sure they're not TOFI? And rarely somebody puts their hand up. Maybe some kids, you know. So I tell them, I know for sure I'm not a TOFI, because I changed my lifestyle and I weigh myself in that scale every year to make sure. And so, but then one day, one guy put his hand up, and I realized that he was a little chubby. So I thought he didn't understand my question. So I asked him, why did you tell me you know for sure you are not tofu. He said, because I'm a fofi. And I started laughing because the word fofi in Brazil is similar to being cute. So I thought he was talking about that he was cute. He said, no, literally in English, the acronym would be fat outside and fat inside. And everybody was laughing. It was like, okay, I get it. You're right. I'm going to use this in my lecture. So let me tell you something. If you are eating the foods of the 21st century, if you're drinking the drinks of the 21st century, if you're living the life of the 21st century, which is sedentary, you are either going to be tofi or fofi or obese. Those are the options. So we have to do something about it. We can no longer depend on others for us to take the reins of our health and take care of it. So I'm sure you have heard this before. You are what you eat. And literally, that's what it is. You know, until I started working with my patients obese, I had never stopped to look at the food I was eating or whatever I was drinking and ask myself the question, what is this going to do to my body? What is it going to do? Is it going to bring me health or diseases? Because those are the two options. We just have to choose. You know, food is, we have to start finding pleasure in other things besides food. It's not that the food shouldn't be pleasurable, but unfortunately, we have learned to feed our emotions with food and treats since childhood. And as adults, we don't even think about it. You know, we're just doing whatever we did. Think about for a moment, when you were a child and you fell down or you got in a fight with somebody and you were crying, somebody came, your mom, your dad, or grandma, or grandpa, or aunt, and gave you a treat, gave you something to eat, whether something sweet or something salty, it doesn't matter, to help you forget the pain. And so we learn that behavior from childhood. And when we're adults, we don't even think about it. We eat when we're sad, we eat when we're bored, we eat when we're irritated, we eat when we're tired, we eat when we're stressed, we eat when we're happy, we eat for all kinds of reasons. Unconsciously, we don't even think about it. And to make things worse, we have learned to celebrate everything with food. Have you realized that everything is birthdays, is weddings, is engagement, is graduation, any gathering of people, we have to have food. Have you been to any celebration that there was no food? It was not a party. It has to be food there, you know, and we love food. Food is part of our subconscious 24/7 a day. We just don't know that. Think about it. How many people here in the audience? How many people, or in Zoom, not the audience, but how many people have dreamed with food in the past? Have dreamt with food before?
I have. I'll put my hand up.
Good for you. Most people have, they just don't remember. Do you know there are studies that show that when we are kids, we dream with food all the time because it's the basis for our survival. Think about, we're eating breakfast, thinking about lunch. Sometimes we're eating lunch, thinking about dinner. And so we're bombarded. Food is like the best thing. We love it. Just by seeing food, our body starts to produce serotonin already. Smelling food, you just get so happy. And one of the things that shocked me the most, because here in Brazil, they didn't have this tradition in funerals to take food to funerals. When I grew up, there was no tradition like that. Funerals is like the most saddest time. So the first time I went to a funeral in the United States, there was a party going on. All kinds of delicious food, and people were laughing, and I was shocked. I could not believe it. Was like, oh my gosh, they're throwing a party for the dead person. How crazy is that? But it's a tradition, and we go with the flow without even thinking about it. Many times we just follow people, follow whatever people are doing without considering, okay, what's this going to do to me? What does that mean to me? I want us to understand, I know time is kind of short, but one simple thing that hopefully will help you. Most of us are addicted to food nowadays, most of us, especially the processed food. And the sad thing, if you watch the documentaries, you will see nowadays, they put a lot of chemicals in the food. There's very little nutrition in the processed foods, but they have chemicals to preserve them and to cause us to want it more. Have you realized that? Think about it. I know you guys have wow, I was crazy about chocolate. I was addicted to chocolate. The M&M, we eat that a lot in the United States. So can you buy a little bag of M&Ms and just eat 2 or 3? I mean, if you do that, it's probably because you don't like much chocolate. But in general, you buy it and you eat the whole thing. How about a bag of chips or anything else that you buy that is processed? You can't stop eating. And that's the point. They want us to continue to eat, no matter that there is no nutrients there. Think about it. Read the ingredients and you're going to be shocked to find out that most of the ingredients are fat, salt, and sugar. That's it. I mean, the other stuff is just very little, the percentage. Read, instruct yourself, educate yourself. So what is an addiction? There's many definitions, but I like this one because it's very simple. A repeated behavior that causes us harm. So what that means, it could be anything. Even healthy things could be an addiction. We are addicted to so many things. We just don't know it. And when I say people are addicted, we're addicted, people sometimes get offended. But tell me, who here doesn't have a cellular phone? Who doesn't have a cell phone? And let's tell the truth. Aren't we addicted to this thing? We can't live without it. I mean, we cannot even drive without it anymore. We can't go anywhere without it. We're addicted to so many things. I mean, I was addicted to Coca-Cola. I was addicted to cheese. I was addicted to, I would eat it not with moderation until it caused me harm. That's what it is. Even good things can become an addiction. For an example, I had a young lady that did the bariatric surgery, and she was addicted to food. Actually, most obese people are addicted to food. Toffies are addicted, most of us are addicted to food. But she was addicted to food, and when she had the surgery, she switched from addiction to food to addiction to exercise. And I forgot about the definition of an addiction, and I thought, I had never worked with a patient with this kind of addiction, so I thought, oh, that's great. She's going to eliminate weight very quickly. Now, I'm going to do a parenthesis here, just a second, so you understand the word eliminate weight. Our subconscious does not recognize the word lose. Nobody likes to lose anything. And words are very powerful. And so we changed that in our program also. We used to say, lose weight. No, now we use it, eliminate weight, because once you eliminate, it doesn't come back. So coming back to the addiction, this girl started going to the gym half an hour a day, then 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. She was going 4 hours a day. 4 hours a day, she caused serious harm to her spine, and the doctor prohibited her from going to the gym. So even healthy things, if you take it to extreme, they're not healthy anymore. They're causing you harm, they're not healthy. Now, for many, many years, both science and the medical field approve and recommend spirituality as the best treatment for any addiction. I'm sure you heard about AA, NA, all the addiction support groups. And they have one thing in common. They use the 12 steps. And in the program, it's free. There's, I don't know if you ever been to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, or they even have Overeating Anonymous. They have all kinds of support groups for addictions, and all use this 12-step because they realize that they, by themselves, they cannot beat this thing. It's bigger than them. You know, it's bigger than us. And that was my problem with chocolate. I didn't recognize that it was an addiction. Another time, I'll be able to share more things with you. But I'm not talking about religion. It's something much deeper than religion. Religions, they have a set of rules and guidelines, but spirituality is a connection with a higher power, with a divine being, where is somebody bigger than us that can help us and guide us. So anyway, that's one of the things that as an addiction counselor is like the key that we use to help people. But I believe food addiction is the worst of the addictions because, you know, yeah, alcohol addiction and drug addiction can be deadly, but you can live without them. You can live without cigarettes, without pornography, without the internet, without the TV, without alcohol, without drugs, but we cannot live without food. And in order for us to have victory over any addiction, video games, for an example, well, there's so many addictions. We have to abandon the addiction in order to have victory over the addiction. But how can we do that with food? We need food to survive. So it's a serious one that needs a lot of attention and help. And so we're just about done. I like to compare our body with a beautiful machine like this Ferrari. I think it's one of the most beautiful machines that man created. Most powerful ones. Obviously, there's others, Lamborghinis and other ones. But I want for a moment that you think about a car that you would like to have, that you think is beautiful and is strong and powerful, or maybe you already have the car of your dreams, I don't know. But I would like to ask you some questions for you to ponder upon and help me out here. If you had a car like this, or if you have a car that you wanted to have, tell me what type of fuel would you be using in this car? Would it be the cheapest one? Yes? Help me out here.
No,
Anybody?
no chance.
No.
No chance.
No.
Obviously not. You probably be putting the best gasoline that is out there. How about, would you leave this car out in the sun, in the rain, without an alarm, without insurance? Would you?
No way.
I'll bet you not. You're right. Would you be taking this car for revision? You know, at the dealership, I don't know where you guys take the cars there, but would you be taking for a revision to change the oil? What type of oil? Would you be doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, of
We
course.
call it service. Service.
Maintenance. Okay, service. All right, we call it maintenance. Yes. So I'm sure you would be servicing your car regularly. Now tell me, why would you take care of this car with such love and care? Why? Help me out again.
Expensive?
Mm-hmm.
Very valuable. It's very, very valuable.
Very valuable. Would you want it to break? Obviously not. You want it to last forever, right? And the parts would be very expensive. So I know for sure you would be taking care of this car with the best that you have. Now, I want you to take this home and think about this question. What kind of fuel are you using in this amazing machine that you have that thousands and thousands of times more powerful than any car in existence. What kind of fuel are you using? Is it the best? Are you following the manufacturer's recommendation? So now the latest studies are showing that the fuel recommended for us to have health is the natural fuel. You know, they're saying that if we continue on the road we're going, our kids are not gonna grow up to be 50. So they start looking at our ancestors and the way they lived and what they were eating and what they were doing. And what they were doing is they were planting their own food. There was no gym, I mean, to work out. The gym was in the field. They're planting their own food. They were very active. There was no obesity and the diseases of the 21st century. Cancer, obesity that brings with it so many diseases, depression, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, so many other diseases. So science is saying this is the best. We need to go back to the basics. You know, the natural foods, they're alive. They provide us with the vitamins, the minerals, the enzymes, the probiotics, the prebiotics, and the antioxidants, and so many nutrients. And I'm proud of many of you because there in England, I was impressed that many people have, they rent a lot where they plant their garden. And it's like, oh my gosh, here in the United States or in Brazil, we have so much land. And people don't want to do that. They want to live in big cities and they want to buy everything ready. They don't want to bother. But now people are learning, starting to understand that we need to go back to the past and learn from them. Because you know what? I guarantee you that I don't know if you already have any diseases, but we do not, most of us don't value our health until we get sick. Yeah, we may say, oh no, it's very important. But if it was so important, why is it that we have eaten so many things that are harmful and we have drank so many things that are harmful and have done so many things, not sleeping enough, not exercising, so many things that are healthy for us. You know, we say it is our health, but it isn't. Because if there was a pill that we could take that it didn't matter what we did, it would take care of our health. Most of us would take that pill. And I know it's much easier to take a pill than to change our lifestyle. But do you know there's many diseases that can be cured just changing our life, by changing our lifestyle? Diabetes type 2 is one of them. But I know it's much easier to take a pill. But we have to change our lifestyle. I mean, nowadays there's even children with diabetes type 2, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But we're going the flow and following the majority, you know? Like the cattle going to the slaughterhouse. We need to change that out. We need to go against the current because our health is one of the most precious things that we have. If we lose it, it doesn't matter the amount of money we have. We're going to spend all of it trying to recuperate. And many times we don't recover. So, again, I repeat, and I hope you remember that. If you don't take care of your health today, you have to take care of your disease or diseases tomorrow. This is 100% true. So I have another challenge for you besides being responsible for your health, not letting nobody else be responsible for your health. We need to learn to eat to live and not live to eat. Because if we are living to eat, if you're eating all day long, if you're just eating whatever you like and not eating the things that you know are healthy, like I used to do, then you're going to be tophy or fofy or obese. And none of those options are healthy. You're going to be sick, very sick. And you're not going to enjoy life when you're sick. No. So I want to leave with you to finish the 8 natural laws of health. I hope you can read there, and most of them are free. And they seem that just medicine alone is not curing people. They have side effects, most of them. Some of them get you sicker, you know, and so if you remember considered the father of the medical field, Hippocrates, he used to say how many thousands of years ago, let your medicine be your food and let your food be your medicine. And that's what science is coming to the conclusion now. So here are the 8 natural laws of health that you can practice every day. And I don't have the time to go into details, but hopefully Gary and Judith will bring somebody to go into details of the benefits of the 8 natural laws of health, because they're very important. Fresh air, moderation in everything. No extremes are healthy. Sunlight, air, water, you know, rest. Rest is huge. Now the science is discovering that a lot of diseases are connected to people not sleeping enough or not sleeping at the right time. There is the right time to sleep also, and our hormone melatonin is produced. So start studying. It's fascinating when you start reading and learning the things that we can do to be healthy. And you're gonna be happier. I thank you for your attention, and I hope that you take some of these things home with you. And if for nothing else that I spoke here today, I want to suggest that before you start putting anything in your mouth, you start asking a question. What is this going to bring to my body? Health or diseases? Because those are the 2 options. Which one are you going to choose? You know, our body can take a lot. It can, because it's strong, but it will break eventually. My body's breaking, and I'm doing all I can to recover it, to patch it up. It may be too late, I don't know, but I want to believe that it's never too late for you to start. So I want to encourage you to be the expert in your health, to be responsible for your health, and to take care of your health today so you don't have to take care of your diseases tomorrow. I hope you have a great evening. And now I guess we can open for some questions and answers, and I'll do my best to answer you.
Okay. Fantastic, Rachel. Thank you so much for.
Are we on time, Eric?
Yes,
we're on time.
We're alive. We've done on time. You've done perfectly on time. I thought I was going to have to jump in with my tea, but no, you did very, very well. Excellent presentation. And the good news is, I'm sure we've all learned so much, but the good thing is, even though Rachel doesn't know this yet, we're going to be asking her to come back and do further talks at some stage very soon. So we do have time. We've got about 15 or 20 minutes. So we've got a good amount of time to answer any questions. So those can be questions directed about the presentation or anything else that somebody or anybody's thinking about in relation to weight loss and weight control. So unfortunately my system played up for a little while, so Judith, you might have to help me if I've missed out some of the questions, but I know I did see one very early on, Rachel, which was asking the question you were talking about, is it bariatric surgery, if I've got the term right?
Bariatric surgery.
Bariatric surgery. For those of us who aren't sure what that is, could you explain what that actually is, what that surgery is?
Sure. I apologize.
No problem.
It's the reduction of the stomach.
So surgically reducing. Yeah.
Yes. And there's different kinds of surgeries, very today.
Okay.
throughout the world. Even like in the United States, we have the biggest health insurance is Medicare for people 65 and above. Even that healthcare pays for the surgery. Most surgeries cover the bariatric surgery.
Okay, thank you. So hopefully that's helped people's understanding. So a reduction of the stomach by actually surgically reducing the size of the stomach so people can eat less effectively to help them control their weight. But as you said, if I remember what you said, Rachel, this is in your determination only 10%. Even if someone has that surgery, that's only 10% of the issue. Okay, so I remembered something. I got something.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So looking back,
the mind is one control.
Excellent. So we have another question from Kevin. We have, did I see another one? Oh, I might have missed it.
Yeah, I had one.
Okay, Nazia, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you. How about you?
Yes, good, thank you. Good. Yes, please fire ahead.
Yeah, I just said that. What should we be eating more of to lose the weight?
Okay. So I'll share. I'm not a medical doctor or a dietitian or a nutritionist, but I work with them. So I have learned a lot. And so if you go into well, there in England you have Oxford and you have Cambridge, but in the United States, Harvard is no longer using the food pyramid because they realize that it needs to be different. So they're using a plate. And so what we have seen in our program and throughout the world as I travel and learn and watch the documentaries, we should be using the plate and not the big plates nowadays. I mean, look at the plates that people used in the past. Like look at your grandparents, the size of plates they had in the past. And now it is a huge plate, just encouraging people to eat more, you know? And so an average plate, not the big one, but a medium-sized plate. We should use that. And we should, I'm not gonna have time to go into, but one of the things that would be very helpful, and I see with my patients obese, by slowing down to eat. People are in a hurry all the time, especially in the United States. Most places have 15 minutes to eat for lunch. So they inhale their food. You know that it takes 20 minutes for your stomach to tell your brain that it is satisfied. So if you eat in 5 or 10 minutes, you eat double the food that you need. Seeing with my eyes, my patients that were preparing for the surgery, my obese patients, and we start practicing putting the fork down, chewing at least 20 to 30 times before you swallow. You know, let me ask you guys something. Is there anybody here that has teeth in their stomach? Anyone? Nobody, right? We don't have teeth in our stomach. We don't have dentures in our stomach. So why is it that we eat so fast when it needs to be chewed to the max here in our mouth? Because this is where we have our teeth, and then swallowed. So the digestion is going to be much easier, and our body will be able to, our digestion system will be able to absorb the nutrients. So we've seen in our patients after a few months of practicing slowing down in the eating, cut their portion in half. Not that they started cutting, they just realized that by 20 minutes that they're eating, they put in their mouth, put the fork down, chew, 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 then swallow, then put the fork again. That helps tremendously. Put a timer. We used to help them with a timer. And we in our program we say who chews more eats less. Our patients eliminated in a month or so, just by eating, taking at least 20 minutes to eat. Many of them eliminated at least 10 pounds. They didn't even change what they were eating in. It's unbelievable. We don't need to eat the amount of food we. But by coming back to the plate, you know, what I've seen and I recommend in my lectures is following many guidelines that are about health is half of our plate should be raw. So for breakfast, half of my plate, I usually eat 3 different fruits because the raw foods, they're alive. They have all the vitamins and the enzymes, like I said, so they're alive. So we're gonna get those benefits. And then, but some people say, oh, but our food is poison and it has all this pesticide and all of this. I have a friend who has a PhD in nutrition in one of the best universities in the world. And she says, you know what? Even with the pesticides, the raw stuff is so much better than the processed stuff. So half of our plate raw for breakfast, for lunch, and then the other half, you split in half. So it should be a quarter with food that is high in protein. So if you eat meat, so a quarter of your plate with meat. If you don't, you could use the legumes, you know, beans, all kinds of different beans. And then the other half should be complex carbohydrates. So the simple carbohydrates is everything that's processed mostly. And so, but the complex ones are the ones high in fiber. So I'll give you an example of my breakfast. I'm sure you heard before that this saying passed on from generation to generation for thousands of years. And I'll teach this on another lecture, but you should eat a breakfast as a king, lunch as a prince, and dinner as a pauper. You know, and science has discovered why, and it's very wise. So see if you can start practicing that. So lunch, you should have half of a plate with salad, raw salad. And if you want to use a sauce in the United States, they use the sauce for the salad, which is for then it's like crazy. It's loaded with fat and salt. It's like, oh my gosh, you just ruined the perfect food. So if you want to do something, you can make sauces that are so easy at home, like avocado. You cut a half of avocado, put in your blender with some lemon juice, fresh lemon juice, some garlic if you like, some water, some salt, and there you have a sauce for your salad. Or a lot of times here in Brazil, we don't use sauce, so you use lemon and salt, you know, sea salt, or the Himalayan salt. Please, one of the things that is so simple to change, don't use the regular table salt because it's not healthy. Start reading about it. Buy sea salt, and it's almost the same price, and it's loaded with minerals that our body needs. So, and then for dinner, this is scientifically proven that the lightest meal we should have is a dinner because we're going to sleep. You know, the purpose of our food is to give us energy. Well, we don't need energy to go to sleep. So we should have a light dinner. That's one of the things I am impressed with the United States. I don't know how it is in England. I didn't pay attention to that, but most Americans, they eat dinner about 5 or 6 in the evening. But what doctors are saying nowadays, eat very little. If you don't want to eat, don't eat nothing, drink water. But you could eat a salad, or you could eat some citric fruits like oranges, strawberries. There, you guys have access to the red fruits, you know, the blackberries, the blueberries, the strawberries. They're wonderful and they're citric and it's good. So either eat some citric fruits at least 2 hours before you go to bed. You shouldn't go to bed with your full stomach because then you wouldn't be hungry to eat a breakfast like a king or a queen, you know. and or a salad or some kind of soup, light. It is not time for us to load up ourselves, because you know what? Anything that we eat, and the doctors are saying that, science is saying that, after 7 p.m., it'll turn into fat. That's what they're saying. And the next time I'll talk to you guys specifically why. But I hope that answers some of the questions you may have, or some curiosity that you have in the area.
Nice, thank you, Rachel. But we've got a few more. I'm just looking at the time. We've got 6 or 7 minutes, and please, we'd ask everyone to stay to the end of the call, because we have a lovely gift for somebody out there. So if you can hold on, and we'll just try and get through these next 3 questions as quickly as we can. So we've got a question, which is it better to eat several small meals a day or just 2 large meals? And I know we've covered this about having, and I think the answer for this is maybe to have, as you've just said, large meal for breakfast, small and moderate meal for lunchtime, and then either, are we saying no food in the evening or a very light meal for the evening meal? Just picking up on what you've just said, Rachel. Yeah, we're happy with that.
Well, so I'm sure the person that asked, there was diets come and go, and there was a fad in the started in the United States, obviously, and where you would be eating every 3 hours. And most people loved it. We love food. So somebody, a medical doctor, a scientist is telling us, oh, it's good for you, eat every 3 hours. Oh, most people are gonna, oh yeah, I love that. But they didn't study that profoundly. But there's so many studies now showing that it is not healthy. Yes, it will accelerate your metabolism, but at a high cost to your digestive system. So if your doctor is recommending that, please, you go to Google Academics and find the studies there that share about that and the results of eating every 3 meals. I met a lady there in England. I think she's in Birmingham. She was, I want to say, probably close to 400 pounds. She was mostly on a wheelchair, and she was taking insulin, all kinds of diseases already, diabetes type 2, heart problems, high blood pressure, all kinds of problems. And her insulin level was raising, and she was having to inject the insulin, and she wasn't getting better. And so then a renowned medical doctor in the United States came to England to give lectures, and he is a specialist in diabetes. And especially for diabetics, the doctors were saying that you should eat every 3 hours because of the sugar level. And so he told her, are you tired of living this way? Are you ready to change this radically? And she said, yeah. He said, I'm here for 10 days and I'll follow you every day and I'll talk to your doctor. But I want to recommend that you only eat 2 meals a day. 2 meals. And the biggest one, I don't care what you were eating, what you just eat. He didn't even change what she was eating first, because it would be too hard to change too many things. But he said, you know, your first meal should be a 7, and it'll be the biggest meal. And then your next meal would be at 2:30 at the latest. And that's all you're gonna eat. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna be anemic. They said, look, you have enough fat to keep you alive for years. We need to burn those fats. You know, you need to stop using fat, or it'll never burn the fat that you have in there. And so in 3 months, she eliminated, I want to say, 60 pounds. Within a week, she went back to her doctor to see about her insulin level, because it was crazy. And he said that whatever you're doing, you can't take insulin no more. You know, so she doesn't have diabetes no more. So I'm not telling anybody here not to follow your doctor's instruction, please. You need to, if you're taking medicine for diabetes or for this, you need to speak with your doctor. But there's a lot of information there that doctors sometimes don't have the time to read. So you find the resources. You find the statistics and share with them, you know. And if they're like, no, you have to continue on this, maybe find a second opinion, you know.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Rachel. I'm just conscious of time, and I just want to get through the last few questions that people have got. So we're going to try and have a 30-second response for each one just before we go, if that's, and then we'll have our special draw. So the first one is, what can we do to help motivate people, or what are any tips that you have in terms of motivation? So suppose we've listened to this program, we get what you're saying. How do we move from the next step of knowing to actually doing? Any tips?
Okay, we cannot change anybody. We have a hard time changing ourselves. So imposing on people, you can't do that. You start first. And by our example, people be curious. But if we have kids or teenagers, or you just start sharing, start watching the documentaries about health and learning, start reading and sharing what you're learning. You know, and as you start changing and people start seeing your changes and the benefits you're having, then they'll be curious and they'll be interested. But if we just start sharing, but we're not applying, that doesn't mean anything for them. That's it. We have to change first.
So maybe there's a bodying up. So if we're aware of somebody who needs some help, we can support each other. So perhaps try and find somebody who's already actively on this, who's trying to do something better, and maybe body up and support each other that way. So we can bounce off each other. Excellent.
Yes.
Okay.
But the movies are good because then you're not the one preaching, you know. They see the documentaries, and even teenagers, it hits home. It's really good. That's what I would encourage you. Find the link on YouTube. Most of the movies are on YouTube for free. You just find them and send the link. You know, I watched this and I want to share with you.
Okay, thank you. A couple more questions. So superfoods, and we are going to be doing a series on actual food and food types and so on. So, but for the moment, superfoods, blueberries, and I understand strawberries are in that category as well. Are superfoods, superberries, are those good things for us to be thinking about in terms of managing weight?
Yes, there is many ones that people are using more. Chia seeds. I have seen that help our patients that were struggling with obesity, or people that are struggling with compulsive eating, or for most people, I use chia seeds because they're superfoods. They're loaded with nutrients. They have more magnesium than bananas. They have more iron than spinach. Read the nutrients and you'll be blown away. And they don't have a flavor, so you can add to anything. So for our bariatric patients, our patients that were having the stomach surgery, our doctors, our surgeons would recommend for them to put in their water and drink it, because this chia seed, it expands, and then it satisfies you. So one tip for dinner, if you want to eliminate weight, or just you want to maintain what you have, you can make a chia seed pudding. If you put, let's say, so 1 tablespoon of chia seeds in a little bowl, and you put water there, or you can put grape juice or fresh oranges or pineapple freshly squeezed or put in the blender, and you leave it for 20 minutes. It becomes like a jello, you know, like a paste. And then you can chop fruits in there, and it's delicious. And it's full of nutrients and satisfying. Chia seed is superfood. Quinoa, there's lentils. Lentils are wonderful. And lentils feed us not only physically loaded with nutrients, but also emotionally, because lentils have the highest amount of lithium. And lithium is a mineral salt that stabilizes our mood. So that's another time I'll share, because that's one of the things this doctor in nutrition helped me conquer the addiction of chocolate was with lentils. So I ate lentils for 30 days, every day in one meal at least, different types. Hamburger lentils made out of hamburgers made out of lentil soup, lentil salad, lentil pate, different things. There's so many recipes.
Okay. Thank you, Rachel. I'm just conscious of time, and I know we've gone over slightly. There was one more question, which is around about what types of food in terms of energy, if someone was training, running, swimming. We've talked about some of those superfoods. I know we have Dr. Kevin Stewart is on the line, who was our presenter for last week. So just to answer that one, before we conclude, Kevin or Rachel, I don't know if either of you can just feed in, if there was a food which we can use, which is going to help us to
I would ask for Dr. Kevin, who is more specialized in that
burn energy as we're exercising, as we start to, is there anything we could suggest?
Hi, good night, everyone. Thanks for your presentation, Rachel. Excellent. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
You're very welcome.
And so, first of all, I'm not a dietitian, so I'll explain that. But what I would say, it does depend on your state. So if you're actually trying to lose weight, if you know, as Rachel said, if you've got extra energy, then you have to ask yourself, what are you training for? Is it to lose weight or is it to build muscle? I think that's the first question. And once you've decided that, if it's to lose weight, then you may not need to take anything. You may just need to be remaining hydrated. If it's to build muscle, however, is looking at things with high protein content within balance. So for instance, we talked about beans tonight, pulses. Looking at that, there's potential bean pea powders that are available as well, rather than going down any of like the milk-based products. There are natural powder proteins that you can have, but you always need to remember that protein can damage the kidneys, so you have to be cognizant of that and really get advice again from your doctor. What you can do is take a blood test before, try a regime for a week, take a blood test afterwards, and see if it's affected anything, and go from there.
Thank you. That was very good.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And we are going to be getting perhaps both of these presenters, both Kevin and Rachel, to be joining with us again at some time in the future. But we have to close now because of time. But we wanted to do two things, one of which is to now award a special prize. Well, first of all, thank you again, Rachel, for a superb presentation. But we are also going to be giving away a special prize now. We have another copy of this book, which is actually entitled How Not to Die. Okay, which sounds a bit morbid, but it's a wonderful book, and what it's doing is encouraging us what sorts of foods, what sorts of what things can we be cooking, what can we be making to help us not to die prematurely. As Rachel has said, if we don't look after our health today, we're going to be looking after our illnesses tomorrow. So this is a book, it's packed with everything. Look, soups and chilies, quinoa, meals. It's a fantastic book, So we have picked out of the hat our winner for today, and our winner for this book, plus with some measuring cups in there as well, is Eulette. So Eulette, if you are still on the line, could you just give us a quick hello if you're still on? Can you hear us? Hopefully you're still on the line, Eulette. She might have just fallen over with the shock of winning this prize, but we will try and reach out to Eulette. Eulette, if you're there, I'm going to put our details in the chat. If you can get in contact with us, and we'll make sure that we get this book to you prior to or during the week, so you can have this book, a cookbook, excellent cookbooks which you can be using obviously for your own benefit, and as it says, how not to die, some wonderful recipes in there. So we're over time. Hello, Eulette, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. Okay, well, we are awarding you this wonderful prize, okay, which is this fabulous cookbook of how not to die, wonderful recipes to eat healthily.
Thank you.
So, I've just noticed your accent. Are you here in the UK?
Yes, I am.
Brilliant. Okay, what I'm going to do, Yulette, if I put our details in the chat, a couple of telephone numbers, if you could get in contact with us, send us a text or pass on your details to us, and we'll be in contact to make sure that we can get this book out to you. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Excellent. Okay, then. Well done. Congratulations. So
Thank you.
a quick, no problem at all. A quick plug is that we still have another session to get in. And next week's session will be at the same time, same code to get in. That's going to be at 7 o'clock, 7 to 8:30. And next week's session is going to be taken by Dr. Rebecca Greco. And she will actually be presenting on stopping smoking. Okay, now that might not be appropriate to everybody on the call, but we may know people, we might have friends, relatives, colleagues who are struggling with smoking. We might have a little bit in there about vaping as well, which is something which is gaining more and more traction. So next week's presentation is going to be on stopping smoking. So please join us again and invite others that you might know. And we still have some way to squeeze in a presentation which we had to postpone, unfortunately, for unforeseen circumstances, which is about how to naturally boost your immune system, which will help us fight off various diseases, various illnesses that are around us. If we have a strong immune system, that's a massive help in us in stopping and preventing diseases from taking over our lives. So we still need to find a way to squeeze that session in. And then into the new year, we'll be having sessions about how to promote positive mental health and well-being, as well as perhaps extending our understanding of these 8 principles of health that Rachel mentioned a little bit earlier on today. So look out for those sessions in the new year, by the grace of God. And we also, last plug, are going to be having all of these presentations on our YouTube channel, which is Inspired Steps CIC. So Inspired Steps CIC, you'll be able to see these presentations for free. And obviously you can pass them on to those around you or just to re-listen to the information that you've had. So the diabetes talk, that's already online now. So if you go onto YouTube, you can listen to that presentation. And Rachel's presentations from today will be online within the week. Okay, so please look out for those. So thank you very much. Thank you all for your participation. We hope that you've benefited. And all being well, we look forward to seeing you again next Thursday. Again, thank you, Rachel.
You're welcome. Bye.
Okay, good night all. Take care.
Thank you.